Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Jamuna Tirabana Chahari Jamuna Tirabana Chahari Ravana Chahari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Madhava Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Girivaradhari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Jamuna Tirabana Chari Jamuna Tirabana Chari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Madhava Kunja Bihari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. We're reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 11, Chapter 5, Text 36, which is the verse before the one we read yesterday. Kalim Sabha Jayantyarya Gunagya Sarabhaginaha Yatra Sankirtanenaiva Sarvasvarto Bhalabhyate Kalim Sabha Jayantyarya Gunagya Sarabhaginaha Yatra Sankirtanenaiva Sarvasvarto Bhalabhyate Kalim Sabha Jayantyarya Gunagya Sarabhaginaha Yatra Sankirtanenaiva Sarvasvato Bhilabhyate. Kalim, the age of Kali. Sabha Jayanti, they praise. Aryaha, progressive souls. Gunagya, who know the true value of the age. Sarabhaginaha, who are able to pick out the essence. Yatra, in which Sankirtanena, by the congregational chanting of the holy names of the Supreme Lord. Eva, merely. Sarva, all. Sva-artaha, desired goals. Abhilabhyate, are attained. Those who are actually advanced in knowledge are able to appreciate the essential value of this age of Kali. Such enlightened persons worship Kali Yuga because in this fallen age all perfection of life can easily be achieved by the performance of Sankirtan. Purport. It is stated here that among the four ages, Satya, Treta, Dwapara and Kali, Kali Yuga is actually the best. because in this age the Lord mercifully distributes the highest perfection of consciousness, namely Krishna consciousness, very freely. The word Arya has been defined by Srila Prabhupada as one who is advancing spiritually. The nature of an advanced person is to search for the essence of life. For example, the essence of the material body is not the body itself, but the spirit soul that is within the body. Therefore, an intelligent person gives more attention to the eternal spirit soul than to the temporary body. Similarly, although Kali Yuga is considered to be an ocean of contamination, there is also an ocean of good fortune in Kali Yuga, namely the Sankirtan movement. In other words, all of the degraded qualities of this age are completely counteracted by the process of chanting the holy names of the Lord. Thus, it is stated in the Vedic language, Jayan krite yajan yagyais tretayam dopare chayan yad apnoti tadapnoti kalo sankirtya keshavam. Whatever is achieved in Satya Yuga by meditation, in Treta by offering ritual sacrifices, and in Dwapara by temple worship, is achieved in Kali Yuga by chanting the names of Lord Keshava congregationally. The Vedic process gradually lifts the conditioned entity out of the darkness of ahankara, or false identification with the gross material body, and brings him to the platform of self-realization, or aham brahmasmi. I am spirit soul, I am eternal. One has to make further progress to discover that although one is eternal, there is a superior eternal entity who is the Lord himself, within one's own heart and within every atom in the material universe. Beyond this second phase of self-realization, there is the third and final stage of perfection, which is realization of Bhagavan, or the Supreme Personality of Godhead, in his own abode. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is not primarily the superintendent of the world, of this world, but rather the enjoyer of his own world, which is beyond the most fantastic dreams of the conditioned living entity. In other words, although the king or president of a country is ultimately the controller of the prison department, the king or president derives actual pleasure within his own palace and not in administering justice to the foolish prisoners. Similarly, the Lord appoints the demigods to administer the material creation on his behalf, while he himself personally enjoys the ocean of transcendental bliss in his own transcendental kingdom. Thus, realization of the Lord within his own kingdom is far superior to the primitive understanding that the Lord is the creator of the prison of the material world. This realization of Bhagavan begins begins with understanding that there are innumerable Vaikuntha planets in the spiritual sky, and that on each of them a particular expansion of Narayan dwells with his innumerable devotees who are attached to that particular form. The central and chief planet in the spiritual sky is called Krishna Loka, and there the personality of Godhead exhibits his supreme and original form of Govinda. As confirmed by Lord Brahma, Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami. Lord Brahma also states, Ishvaraha Parama Krishna Satchit Ananda Vigraha Anadir Adir Govinda Sarvakarana Karanam. Brahma Samhita Chapter 5, Text 1. Thus, love of Krishna and entrance into Krishna's planet in the spiritual sky is the most supremely perfect and exalted status of life available anywhere, at any time, throughout the totality of existence. That perfection is available in Kali Yuga simply by chanting the holy names of God. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Therefore, every sane man, woman or child should deeply understand the unprecedented opportunity offered by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and seriously take up this chanting process. Only the most unfortunate and irrational person will neglect this transcendental opportunity. Om Jnana Timirandasya Gyananjana Salakaya Chakshurun Militam Jena Tasmaye Sri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Jena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langhayate Girim Yat Kripatamaham Bande Sri Gurum Dinatavinam. It's these kind of statements in the Srimad Bhagavatam that make the Hare Krishnas feel superior to everybody else. But we should avoid that kind of mentality. We're unqualified in many, many respects because Kali Yuga is described as an ocean of faults. Nidhe Rajan. Kalir Dosha Nidhe Rajan is an ocean of faults. And somehow, by Krishna's arrangement, what is it? Yasya prasadat bhagavat prasado yasya prasada nagati kutopi. So by without receiving Krishna's mercy, one can't attain the supreme goal or the supreme destination. And that mercy, Krishna's mercy, is actually manifest in the mercy of the spiritual master. So we are very fortunate to have received Krishna's mercy in the form of Srila Prabhupada's mercy upon us. And as a result, Srila Prabhupada has basically created our good fortune for us. And so our glorification of Kali Yuga, if you like, is practically implemented in our glorification of Srila Prabhupada. And of course, glorification of Srila Prabhupada, but really following Prabhupada's example, following Srila Prabhupada's instructions, and receiving the blessings of Kali Yuga by receiving the blessings of our spiritual master. So let's have a look at this. Sabha Jayanti. Sabha means the assembly, you know, the assembly of devotees. And Jayanti means to praise. So the devotees praise Kali Yuga. And here, who are those devotees that are described? Aryaha, progressive souls. You know, we have the notion of, or this idea of Aryan. And that's mentioned in the second chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, when Krishna chastises Arjuna because of his lamentation. Right? And he says this lamentation, this bewilderment, is not befitting somebody who's a progressive soul. Right? Somebody who's making spiritual advancement, somebody who's making spiritual progress, or somebody who's spiritually learned is Arya. Right? So that's a description of all of the devotees. All of the devotees appreciate the benefits of Kali Yuga, and knowing the true value, what is here? Guna Gya. They're able to Sara Bhagina, pick out the essence, take out the essence of the age. And what is that essence? What's the essence of the age of Kali Yuga? Raise your hands if you think you know what the essence of the age of Kali. What's the best thing of the age of Kali?
So by Harinam Sankirtan movement?
Yes. Yeah, chant Hare Krishna. This is the, you know, when the Hare Krishnas revert to the default, what's their advice? Chant Hare Krishna. Very simple, actually. And here it's described. It's the essence of the age, effectively. The essence of the good qualities of the age is to Sankirtayanina, by the congregational chanting of the holy names of the Supreme Lord. And very interesting here. Eva, merely, right? Sarva Svaartaha. Whatever you desire. Abhilabhyate, are attained. Right? So simply by the chanting of Hare Krishna, we can fulfill all of our desires and be fully satisfied. So, Riddhananda Maharaj in the purport, because these purports in the 11th, most of the 10th, and all of the 11th and the 12th canto, actually written by Riddhananda Maharaj and a number of devotees assisting him. So he says here, even though in such a yuga, Hare Govardhana Dari Ki Jai, Hare Krishna. Even though in such a yuga, people have far more qualification to practice spiritual life. They live for 100,000 years. They can meditate for years on end, right? And in Treta Yuga, even though the qualities are diminished, far, far more qualified than the residents of Kali Yuga, likewise with the Dwapara Yuga. But even though those ages have the living entities or the residents, especially the humans, are endowed with longer life, better habits, better education, better association. Still, Kali Yuga is considered to be the most beneficial, the most auspicious, even though it's also the most degraded, which is a bit of a contradiction, or it's a conundrum, right? It's the worst, but it's also the best. And especially this Kali Yuga, when Krishna appeared, he had a purpose, has a purpose. Just like each one of us has a purpose. So Krishna also has a purpose in his appearance. And so when Krishna appeared, his purpose was paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya chaduskritam. He appeared to kill the demons, right? Although this was actually the external reason for Krishna's appearance. The real reason, paritranaya sadhanam, was actually to please the devotees, to exchange the love and affection that Krishna relishes the most with the residents of Vrindavan. Very often Krishna or God is worshipped, like Prabhupada explains, like Narayan, the Lord and Master of the universe. Upadrashta and the Anumanta, and the overseer and the permitter. And also, as is mentioned in the purport, the chastiser, right? Like a father, right? God the Father, who art in heaven, right? And who's, if you don't behave yourself, you're in trouble, right? So, and so therefore, there's this mood of awe and reverence, and even, fear of God, right? Although in this day and age, nobody has any fear of God, given the way that they're behaving, right? Because we know the reactions will be serious, swift and serious. So, Prabhupada explains, and Krishnadas Kaviraj explain how when Krishna appeared, it was also the time to rid the earth of the demons, right? And so we have, in the beginning of the Krishna book, the demigods are going to the Milk Ocean, and Lord Brahma's offering prayers to Lord Vishnu on behalf of Bhumi, because Bhumi is suffering so much. And we see that even today, actually, how the earth is being exploited and plundered and polluted, and it's a very difficult situation. And you know, the consequences that we're experiencing now. Alannath Prabhu was telling me how he flew from London to Athens, but because they had 2 years of rain in 3 days?
2 days.
Oh, 2 days. Huge floods. The planes couldn't land, had to go elsewhere. Huge confusion, right? Jai Radha Govardhana Hari, Gaunitai, Krishna Balaram. But before that, and we're all familiar with this, before that they had the bushfires, right? And as things are shaping up this year, and if it's not this year, it's probably going to be next year, we're all in for a cooking. And then after that, we'll probably have more floods. And those of you who have lived in Murwillumbah are certainly familiar with floods, right? So these are the kind of consequences that we can look forward to because of the sinful activities. So because of the burden on the earth, it was time for Krishna to appear and to remove the demoniac kings, right? But Prabhupada explains, Krishnadas Kaviraj explains that actually that purpose is the purpose of Lord Vishnu as like the Father, the Supreme Controller, right? And misbehave, be punished, right? And so, that the mood or that attitude of reverence or irreverence is appropriate for the Supreme Controller, if you like. But that really is not Krishna's purpose. And so it's explained that work, service, if you like, is actually done by Lord Vishnu, because that's his department, the controller of material affairs. But Krishna's main purpose, real purpose, was to come and experience the love of the residents of Vrindavan. And Krishnadas Kaviraj explains, and Krishna is quoted as saying, the awe and reverence of my devotees doesn't attract me nor control me as much as the love and affection of the residents of Vrindavan. Right? And Prabhupada, a nice example that Prabhupada gives of this attitude or this mood is Prabhupada describes Benjamin Disraeli, who was a Prime Minister of England, right, of the United Kingdom, and one of the ministers came to see Benjamin Disraeli, and his secretary said, the Prime Minister is busy, he can't see you right now, right? And so the minister, sat in the waiting room, waiting patiently for the Prime Minister to finish his business. But it was taking some time, and so he got a bit frustrated. So he got up and he looked in to see what was engaging the Prime Minister that was so important, right? And then he noticed that he was playing horsey for his grandchildren. So what's more important? More important is playing with your relatives and your friends and your grandchildren, if you like, your family, where there's love and affection, as opposed to, dealing with state affairs, not as attractive and not as much fun. So Krishna's purpose was to certainly, yes, the time had come when it was the appearance of the the Saviour, if you like, the Lord as the Saviour, who rid the earthly planet of the preponderance of demons. But really, Krishna's internal purpose was to associate and exchange, relish and enjoy the loving exchanges, the intimate exchanges that the residents of Vrindavan actually control Krishna. Even though Krishna is the supreme controller, he himself is controlled by the love and affection, the intimacy of the love and affection of the residents of Vrindavan. So that's main purpose, is let me associate with my friends and with my devotees, and of course, you know, the topmost devotees are the gopis, and of course the topmost devotee is Srimati Radharani, who is the, you know, Radha Krishna. And Prabhupada explains Radha Krishna means Radharani's possession, Krishna. Right? Radharani controls Krishna by her love and affection. I was reading yesterday how Krishna was enjoying the rasa dance with all of the gopis, and he was situated, you know, between each gopi, so with all of them. But Radharani got upset because she wasn't being shown any special attention, right? And so she left the rasa dance. And then when Krishna discovered that Radharani had left the rasa dance, and he became very upset and bewildered, right? Started crying. Couldn't find Radharani and then started crying, right? So, you know, this is an example of how the residents of Vrindavan control Krishna and even bewilder Krishna. Yet he's the supreme controller, the one who enlightens everyone, frees everyone from bewilderment, yet he is bewildered by the love and affection of his topmost devotees. So, Lord Chaitanya also had a purpose in the cause of his appearance and his pastimes. And the external reasons for Lord Chaitanya's or Krishna's appearance as Lord Chaitanya was to, first of all, to fulfill the desire of Advaita Acharya. Because Advaita Acharya could see the lack of qualification of the people in the age of Kali. And even though he's an incarnation of the Lord himself, right, incarnation of Mahavishnu, he still felt himself inadequate to turn the tide of Kali. So Advaita Acharya was worshipping his Shalagram Shila and calling out to the Lord, you have to appear yourself in order to make a difference in the age of Kali. And again, as with Krishna's appearance, the time had come for the Lord's performance of his the Yuga Dharma. So similarly also, the time had come for the appearance of the Yuga Avatar to fulfill the Yuga Dharma. And so Advaita Acharya was precipitative in appealing to Krishna. You must appear yourself in order to elevate the residents of Kali. I can't do it. You yourself have to appear. So the external reasons for Lord Chaitanya's appearance were he was requested to appear by Advaita Acharya, but also he was the Yuga Dharma for Kali Yuga is the chanting of Hare Krishna, Sankirtan. And that's for every Kali Yuga, right? For every Kali Yuga, the Yuga Dharma is Sankirtan. But this Kali Yuga is very special. So the internal purpose for Lord Chaitanya's appearance was to relish the mood of a devotee. And specifically, Krishna wanted to relish what Radharani sees in him. First of all, he takes on the position or the mood of Srimati Radharani, and that's the mood of a devotee. Right? As Krishna can't relish the mood of Srimati Radharani because he's the enjoyer. And Radharani is the enjoyed. So it's impossible for Krishna to experience as Krishna that what Radharani is experiencing in him. So Krishna has this desire. Just like when Lord Nrsingadev was sitting Prahlad on his lap, right? Prahlad Maharaj was sitting on Lord Nrsingadev's lap, and Lord Nrsingadev was thinking, I wonder what it is that Prahlad is feeling when he's sitting on my lap. Right? Krishna has desires, just like we have desires. We get those desires ultimately from Krishna. Krishna also has desire. So when Prahlad was sitting on his lap, Lord Nrsingadev was smelling his head, like one does with one's children, right? And then he was thinking, I wonder what Prahlad's feeling while I'm sitting here holding him. So that was the precipitant for the Lord appearing as Lord Ram, right? And experiencing the affection of his father. And also, in a somewhat contradictory way, also the rejection of his father, right? By the arrangement of the Leela. And so experiencing the close affection and protection of his father, but at the same time also being banished to the forest, and then relishing that relationship but in separation. Right? So what's that saying? Separation makes the heart grow fonder. Right? So Krishna knows how to churn the nectar of these relationships, and so he's sometimes in the association of the devotees and relishing that rasa, or that taste, but then also being torn apart or been removed from the devotees, and then relishing that relationship more deeply, in fact, right? Because of this principle of separation making the heart grow fonder. So Krishna in Krishna Leela was thinking, just like Nrsingadev was thinking, how's Prahlad feeling? Krishna is thinking, how's Radharani feeling? I'd like to, what is it? What is it that Radharani is experiencing when she feels love and affection for me? So he accepted the position of Srimati Radharani, the attraction, right? Radharani is automatically attracted to Krishna, just as a young girl is automatically attracted to a young boy, or vice versa. A young boy is attracted to a young girl. I don't know if you've noticed that. And it's just natural, right? So Krishna was wondering, what is it that she sees when she's attracted to me? And because Krishna's attracted to Radharani, but he wanted to feel, what does she feel when she sees me? What is she experiencing, right? And also, what is that? What is the love? What is the love and affection that Radharani experiences after being attracted and being absorbed in her relationship with Krishna? Krishna wanted to know what is it that Radharani, what is that love that Radharani feels as a result of that attraction? There's a difference between attraction and the love, right? We're attracted and then the love comes later, right? And also the separation, right? That also comes later. We fall in love, but then we're separated. Oh, right? And then we experience that love more deeply, right? So Krishna he's wondering, what is it that Radharani sees in me? What does she feel? So that was Krishna's internal purpose, to appear in this age of Kali, and with special benefits, in this age. In other Kali Yugas, that mood of awe and reverence is what ordinarily accrues to the devotees who practice the Sankirtan, right? But in this Kali Yuga, the benefits that accrue to the devotees are that we can relish and attain the same level of affinity and affection for Krishna that is relished by the residents of Vrindavan. That's the special feature in this Kali Yuga, a special feature that comes through the chanting of Hare Krishna. And just as Lord Chaitanya in his early years as a sannyasi and even as a householder, his pastimes were absorbed in Sankirtan, right? Distributing love for Krishna, and that prema ras, that the same feelings of affection and connection that are experienced by the residents of Vrindavan can be experienced by the devotees through the performance of Sankirtan. And specifically, Lord Chaitanya in his later years relished the intimate pastimes of the Lord through meditating on the mood of the residents of Vrindavan, but in separation from Krishna. And those moods of separation, Prabhupada explains actually that one can relish those or understand those by meditating on the verses in the Bhagavatam, in the 10th canto of the Bhagavatam, where Srimati Radharani has met Uddhava and goes into kind of a crazy state where she starts chastising a bumblebee, right? And that is, Prabhupada explains, is the epitome mood of the residents of Vrindavan in that mood of separation from Krishna. And so Lord Chaitanya, with Ramananda Roy and his close associates, Swarupa Damodar, would recite these verses and become absorbed, fully absorbed in these pastimes of separation from Krishna, to relish that mood of transcendental madness almost of Srimati Radharani and the residents of Vrindavan. So the advantage for us is that we can also follow in the footsteps, following the instructions of Lord Chaitanya, and specifically following the teachings of the Goswamis. Because Lord Chaitanya instructed the Goswamis to reveal the sacred places of Vrindavan, reveal the Leela Stan, and to reveal the pastimes of Krishna and the residents of Vrindavan. Following in the mood of service that is exhibited by the Shakis. Right? So the Goswamis, it's explained, Krishnadas Kaviraj explains that we should, in order to understand our relationship with Krishna, we should pursue that relationship in the mood of being a servant of the servant, right? Gopi Bhatu Padakamalaya Das Das Anudas. So we're and Srila Prabhupada teaches us, we're all Rupanugas, we're followers of Rupa Goswami, we're followers of the 6 Goswamis. And so our mood is as servants of the servants, and they're the servants of Lord Chaitanya, who's Krishna in the mood of Srimati Radharani. So in that way, pursuing the Sankirtan movement, the Sankirtan mission, if you like, and the external manifestation of that is our preaching, effectively. Worshipping Krishna through the performance of Sankirtan, living in the association of the devotees, hearing regularly the Srimad Bhagavatam, right? Worshipping the deity, Radha Govardhana Hari, and in that way living in a sacred place. By doing all of those things, we basically are creating sacred places Srila Prabhupada created sacred places all over the planet where preaching, setting an example, performing Sankirtan, we're creating an environment where the internal development of our relationship with Krishna manifests through being a servant of the servant. So in our case, we're a servant of Srila Prabhupada. Actually, we're a servant of all of the devotees. We're servants of all of the devotees. And Srila Prabhupada being the manifestation of the parampara, so then Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, Gokishore Das Babaji, Bhakti Vinod Thakur, and on, back to Lord Chaitanya, but through Lord Chaitanya's representatives, the 6 Goswamis, right? The 6 Goswamis, especially Rupa Goswami, giving us all of the details of how to perform Sankirtan, how to associate with the devotees, how to study the Bhagavatam, understand the Bhakti Shastras and how to worship the deity and how to live in a sacred place. That's the external manifestation of the mood and the mission of Lord Chaitanya. But the internal manifestation is us making progress in our devotional lives and creating a sangha, creating an association of ISKCON basically, where each one of us is, first of all, anatta nivritti, right? Removing the unwanted things, and then developing our attachment for Krishna. Ideally, right? This is what we should be doing. Get rid of the anattas and then start to make progress in developing a taste. What is it? A taste for chanting Hare Krishna, and eventually developing our affection and attachment to Krishna. That's the activity of the soul that will fully satisfy us when we understand our relationship with Krishna and are actually able to act within that relationship. So on the one hand, we have, our external manifestation of the Hare Krishna movement, but also what needs to be taking place is also our internal development, self-improvement. And of course, because that's what we're doing, it's very attractive, actually. The engagement in devotional service, even just the external engagement in devotional service, is very attractive. In Melbourne, on our Google My Business page, pretty much every day now we get 2 or 3 5-star reviews, right? And very often people say, this is the most peaceful and tranquil place in Melbourne, right? Must visit. Best place, right? Prasadam's very good. Of course, I was discussing this with Ajit last night. We were kind of laughing, People come to the temple and they think, oh, what a peaceful place, right? They don't see what's going on in the kitchen. They don't see what happens when somebody doesn't turn up to do the offering. They don't see But what people do relish is that focus on Krishna, ultimately. Even though we might experience the internal friction of social life in ISKCON, right? But there's a relish, there's a rasa, there's a taste that we can only get by rendering that service to Krishna, that intimate service. I remember when Chincharipa and I started going to the temple in Adelaide, and we'd enthusiastically go to the morning program and then get involved in service and whatever, and then we'd at a certain point have to go home. And we go home and we say, "Phew, that was intense. Whew. Oh, glad I'm away from the temple." But then, the next day we think, "Oh, I've got to get back to the temple. Right? Got to go back." There's something there that you just can't. What did Prabhupada say about the chutney?
Too hot to handle, too sweet to resist.
Too hot to handle, right? This is the association of the devotees. Too hot to handle, too sweet to resist, right? Because it's service. It's service, and also it's like a window into the spiritual world, right? Even the devotees with their so-called imperfections, right? are still more perfect, most perfect, superior to anybody else who's just competing, they're just competing for sense gratification in the material world. Whereas the bhakti rasa is what people relish, is what we relish, what keeps us coming back. Chanting Hare Krishna, rendering service, and especially, as is mentioned in the purport, chanting Hare Krishna. That's the essence of Kali Yuga, is that through that prayer to Krishna, we're all focusing ourselves on serving one person, right? And there's no competition. Well, there is competition between the devotees, right? Who's going to be the best devotee? Especially when, as a Kanishta, we feel we've made a lot of advancement when we know how to put on our tilak. We can tie our dhoti nicely. I remember once, actually, funny story. I won't mention any names, but some of you will know who the temple president was. And he and the vice president used to wear a dhoti, and they would fold, the dhoti around at the top, and have that it's kind of like a chadar over the top, right? And then one day I decided I would copy that, the wearing of the dhoti like that. And then the temple president said to me, no, you can't wear that dhoti like that. That's only for senior devotees can wear a dhoti like that. Right? So, we think we've made advancement when we know all the prayers. We know not to put the books on the floor, I remember when I first put a book on the floor, I got blasted, and, basically I was going to end up in purgatory for the right? It's just, you're attracted to it. Of course, all day yesterday I was just talking to my friends, right? I was relishing the kirtan, but I was also relishing the association of the devotees. So I think today I should go to the kirtan. Stop being a social animal and get serious, right? Okay, any comments or questions? Hare Krishna. You get a mic. He says, does he need one? Yeah. You've got a loud voice, but not that loud.
It's Radharani reciprocate knowing. What does she know about Lord Chaitanya appearing to relish her mood?
What does Radharani know?
Well, no, that wasn't quite what I mean. I was thinking during the class when you mentioned Lord Chaitanya and the separation, or wanting to experience the love that she has.
Yeah.
Is it predicted that Radharani will appear herself? I know it's a bit, but
Well, she does, yes, in the form of Gadadhar, isn't it? Right? Yeah. And it's Lord Chaitanya and the Panchatattva are an incredible incarnation, because usually we think of God, the one form. But here, the Lord appears in 5 forms. Right? Talk about bewildering people. We're having a joke yesterday about people coming to Krishna consciousness, and they like the devotees and they like the philosophy, but they have a little difficulty with the blue boy playing a flute, herding cows in Vrindavan, right? So Lord Chaitanya's totally bewildering, because it's not him just as one person, it's him as 5 people, right? And not only is it's him appearing in the mood of Srimati Radharani, but Gadadhar is also an expansion of Radharani. Right?
Can you explain why Gadadhar appears, or Radharani appears as Gadadhar? What's her mood there?
I suspect that, who wouldn't like to be with Lord Chaitanya in the Sankirtan? We all like it,
No, that's
right?
Thank you. That's understandable.
Yeah, we like it. So why do they like it? Probably for the same reason that we like it. It's once we get over our aversion to the external manifestation of the Krishna consciousness movement, right? I remember when I first saw the devotees chanting Hare Krishna in Adelaide, and it was 5 or 6 brahmacharis, and bald heads, saffron cloth, and I heard the Maha Mantra, and I was just so attracted. I used to go into the city and I could hear, and I think, oh, there's the Hare Krishnas. And then I'd hear the mantra. I think, whoa, that's so good. And then I'd see the devotees, I think, oh. Gaura Mandala Bhumi, who's a wonderful devotee, but you can see the whites of his eyes, right, just naturally. And he'd be playing the mridanga, and he'd be kind of looking at you, and I think, whoa. If you get mixed up with these guys, you're finished. But I was attracted to, I'd hear the mantra, and I knew the mantra. I'd been given a card when I was 15. I'd been given a Sunday feast invitation. I saw this devotee selling whatever it was he was selling, and I made a vow, I'm not going to give him any money, right? Because I knew Hare Krishna's just asked you for money, right? So I made a vow, I won't give him any money. And then he just gave me a card, completely disarmed me, because I was expecting him to ask for money, and he didn't, he just gave me a card. So I took the card, got the card. But then I took it home, and on the back, there's the invitation to the Sunday feast, and on the back, chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, and make your life sublime, right? So I stuck it up on my pin-up board, and that's how I learned to chant Hare Krishna. So I was attracted to the chanting of Hare Krishna, but when I saw the externals, I thought, whoa, get me out of here. But kept on wanting to come back. Right? You may have had a same or similar experience, right? Associate with the devotees, and it gets a bit scary, and you think, oh, what am I doing this for? Behind you.
Thank you for this wonderful class. I really enjoyed it. So I have a question. In the verse it says Sankirtan is for this age. I feel attracted to the Kirtan because everyone is doing it and you just want to jump in and just chant Hare Krishna. But
yeah.
Japa or Naam repetition is a little tricky for me because after a few rounds I'm like...
Japa's tricky for everybody. You're not the only one. You're in good company. Right? Hands up here, anybody who's not finding Japa tricky. Please raise your hands. Okay. We've got one person, the exception that proves the rule. Japa is tricky, except for those who are very fortunate. Yeah. Go on.
I just find the way that I japa was I savoured every single Hare. I'd start with doing one mantra with
Yes.
all my heart.
Yes.
Every Hare, every
Yes.
like while I was sitting on the top.
Very good.
And then I fell in love with it. So then it became easy.
We should all follow in your footsteps.
I wouldn't say that. That's
Well, that's the advice that I've been given. Pay attention to every single mantra. Is that right? But I don't think he's finished his question yet.
No, I have finished.
You have finished?
I wanted to know know that everyone has that same trickiness towards japa.
Trickiness, yeah. Okay. Everybody's smiling, so you're welcome. Yeah. Yeah. I think on the first time I chanted my rounds with the devotees, I was really into the Maha Mantra, and I thought, wow, this is it. This is what they're talking about. Huh? I've been trying to get back to that point ever since.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
You mentioned before that by chanting Hare Krishna, it fulfills all desires.
Fulfills all desires.
So should
Yes.
we take that literally? Because in Mahabharata we learned that we got and the
Yes.
questions,
Yeah.
we have more than the blade of grass. So the answer was desire. So is that literally?
Now, it's very interesting, isn't it? Because in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, it's explained, Krishna says that I give myself, but the devotee wants other things. Right? And so Krishna fulfills the devotee's desires in such a way so that they get what they desire, but they don't want it eventually, if it's a material. And Krishna actually is happy to give himself, right? So long as we give up those material desires. So, we come to Krishna with material desires, unfortunately. We're conditioned. And so through the chanting of Hare Krishna, and this is where japa is important, because japa is the means by which we improve ourselves. And, Cheto Dapanam Marjanam Bhava Mahadavagni, we remove the fire of material desire through the chanting of Hare Krishna. Right? And we have to go through that process of realising, I don't really want Krishna, I want this, this thing, that thing, another thing. And the japa is that internal reflection where, the pure mind reflects the pure soul. But what we are challenged by is all of that, what can you call it? The clouds of ignorance and the clouds of confusion and the clouds of lust that cover our original identity. But through the chanting of Hare Krishna, that all gets cleared, right? But sometimes we still have material affection, and that's conditioning. Right? And why we have the process of sadhana, why we have the process of deity worship, for example. These things are immensely powerful in getting rid of those material attachments effectively. Right? So Krishna is very kind, and so he arranges the fulfillment of those desires in such a way so that we realise, I got it, but that wasn't really what I wanted. You may have had that experience, right? So Krishna's kind. He fulfills our desires, but he does it in such a way so that we will gradually give them up. And why we need to apply ourselves to the process of chanting, right? And japa especially is tricky, challenging, right? Because we're facing ourselves, right? And especially, we've got to the point where we're a competent devotee. We can tie our dhoti, chant the mantras, do all that stuff, right? We think, oh, now I've made it. But then all of a sudden we look and we think, oh no, I thought I was a pure devotee, but how come I want this, that, or, I'm attracted to stuff, right? I love seeing Krishna, but I also like a look of my neighbour's Mercedes-Benz. Or, gee, that guy's got a nice house. Why can't I have a house like that? Or whatever it is. You add your particular attachments into the equation, whatever they might be. Each one of us has that. And in one sense, being an effective member of ISKCON is, being active and positively contributing to the benefit of the society and the benefit of our preaching, but also understanding where we really are at, and being comfortable with ourselves and comfortable with working on, purifying ourselves. And that's japa. And it can be tricky. It can be very uncomfortable. Prabhu? Oh, I thought you'd...
Yes, so just to follow up on it. So as we don't know who we are.
We don't know who we are.
If we don't know who we are, how we should know what to desire.
What to desire?
Yes.
Well, what comes to mind, Prabhupada said to Jamuna once, I'm going to give you a mantra by which, if you chant this mantra, you can solve all problems. Right? So the devotees say, Prabhupada's going to give us a mantra that'll solve all problems. Woo! So, and you know what that mantra was? Om Jnana Timirandasya Gyananjana Salakaya Chakshurun Militam Jena Tasmai Sri Guruve Namaha. So that's why we have to go to the spiritual master. Even Lord Chaitanya taught us that. I was reading yesterday. He asked Ramananda Roy, go on, tell me more about Radha and Krishna. And Ramananda Roy said, I'm fallen. I'm just a householder. I'm not even a Brahmana. I know nothing about the affairs of Radha and Krishna. I only speak what you inspire me to speak. Right? So Lord Chaitanya said, I'm just a Mayavadi sannyasi. I know nothing. I know nothing. And if it weren't for Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, I would still be in Maya, right? And Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya cleared me of any confusion, and he told me to come and speak to you. So he said, my guru told me to come and speak to you, so therefore I have to hear from you, right? So Prabhupada was explaining, this is in the teachings of Lord Chaitanya, that we should approach a qualified guru, somebody who knows the science of Krishna consciousness. And because it's interesting, Lord Chaitanya was a Brahmana and a sannyasi, right? Yet he was approaching Ramananda Roy, who wasn't a Brahmana and he was a householder, right? So it's kind of, hang on a second, this is not right. Brahmana, sannyasi approaching a householder, kayasta, right? Not quite a Sudra, but certainly not a Brahmana. And Prabhupada says that one shouldn't be proud of one's qualifications, birth, education, wealth, position in society, or whatever, but rather one should humbly submit themselves before the spiritual master, the qualified spiritual master. And that's hard. So, even though we have so many gurus, sometimes we don't submit ourselves humbly before the guru or our gurus, right? And seek advice. Especially, we've been in ISKCON for so many years and do all the things, shave our head, put the tilak on, wear our clothes, whatever. We do all the things, but we're still struggling. But we're too proud to submit to the spiritual master for advice, effectively, right? So that's our process, actually, to work out what it is we should be doing. We go to a qualified guru. And Prabhupada explains, the qualified guru is one who knows the psychophysical nature of the disciple and is able to then provide instructions by which that we can make advancement, right? And so that's why, the association of the devotees, why ISKCON is so important, why we should be making progress so that we can shelter others. And also, we can set an example by submit, what is it? Pranipat Pariprashna Sevaya. We humbly approach the Guru, or, those devotees who are more advanced than us effectively, maybe even our friends who know us very well, right? And we say, where do you think I can make advancement? How do you think I can improve my devotional service? So we do it, by the mercy of the devotees effectively, and those devotees who are mentoring, teaching, acting as guides, they're our gurus effectively. Yeah, no, that's our culture. And I'm who's feeling hungry? Or Chamari, did you want the microphone? No. Oh, you looked like you were just going to Radha and Krishna, right? Oh, okay. Am I hungry? I don't know. I got up a lot earlier than I normally would this morning, so I guess I am hungry.
I'll get you a plate of food.
Hare Krishna. Okay, Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Harinam Sankirtana ki jai, Kali Yuga ki boo.